It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chad Erickson. Great to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. A lot to do over the next 60 minutes. David Aardsma will swing by and talk some baseball in about 20 minutes. Get some thoughts with him on, well, the Tokyo series that just finished up. Also, the Red Sox Alex Bregman decision, which looks like it's been made without it actually having been announced. We'll get into that and a whole bunch of things from around baseball. I want to know from him what it's like to play in Tokyo because he's actually done it. So what those series are like for teams. We'll get into that coming up a little later on in the show. There is some NFL news to get to. The Lions want a rule change, and the Bengals are clapping back at some of their critics in the media. I think that includes Sam Yarnell, by the way, who's hanging out with us on the show today. They're clapping back at you too, man. They should have included you in the montage they played. I should have added you for them, but we'll get to that. Don't worry. We'll get to that coming up in about 10 minutes here on the show. All right, the madness has begun. If you are watching this show, bless your heart, because it means you're not watching the NCAA tournament, which makes you my new best friend. But there were, we had the first four on Tuesday night, the first four on Wednesday night, as Vlad and I predicted yesterday on the show, and incorrectly so. The 11-11 game actually wound up being better than the 16-16 game in this case, and we thought it would actually be the other way around. Mount St. Mary's, look, they've made magical runs before, and they got a win last night against American. Where is American? That's in D.C., isn't it? Is that a D.C. school there, Sam?
Yeah, it's in Northwest D.C., just a little bit northwest of Georgetown.
There you go.
In a very nice part of town on the west side.
Okay, so bless their hearts, American. They fought gallantly and valiantly, but they obviously didn't come away with a win. Mount St. Mary's now will go and get their doors blown off by Duke in that 1-16 matchup. The more interesting one to me was Xavier and Texas. And I mean, look, Texas had their opportunities here. I watched this team a couple of times actually during the regular season and thought, that team could be dangerous in March. Well, they were dangerous for all of one game because they lose to Xavier last night.
Well, that's the whole thing about Texas basketball this year, Jason. They are a team loaded on potential. And trust me, if rings were won with potential and championships were won on paper, the Texas Longhorns may be competing for that national championship this year. The fact of the matter is they're a team that has a lottery pick for sure, a cemented lottery pick in their starting five, right? They've got a couple of other guys who are going to find their way to the National Basketball Association. There's a ton of talent on that Texas team in a loaded conference, as we see with the SEC. Here's the thing. They'd never played good team basketball. It was like a bunch of great parts that never quite fit together. And you saw exactly why Big East basketball is so successful in this 11-11 game, Jason, because when things matter late in the season, when it gets to March, they play the team game. We talked about this on the show yesterday. It's one thing I love about Yale heading into this NCAA tournament. It's team basketball. Someone's going to go off tonight, whoever it is. Let's just keep feeding them the rock, and that's how Xavier won that game.
Yeah, and, again, we talk about teams, how they're coming into this tournament playing. We mentioned Purdue on yesterday's show when you joined us, and the fact that they come in limping and sort of leaking gas or leaking oil. And then you look at a team like Xavier, who's the exact opposite, playing really good basketball at the right time of the year. And it is not unprecedented in this tournament to see a team that gets hot late in the season, sort of one of these middle seeds that can go on a run. And in this era of college basketball, that is certainly a possibility. I want to ask Sam about some Friday potential upsets in the NCAA tournament. We'll do that in a moment after a word from our friends over at Edge Boost. All right, so I am all about trying to take my sports betting game to the next level and helping you take your sports betting game to the next level, which is why I'm telling you about our friends at Edge Boost. We welcome them back to the show this week. The financial platform paying you cash back to wager. It's the NCAA Tournament. It's March Madness. Get in on it with our friends from Edge Boost, an online bank account paying you for every deposit. And with the Edge Boost Visa debit card, you're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. And that is free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're doing already. It is a no-brainer. Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it'll never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. So stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more, and when you go there, make sure to use my promo code WRAP, W-R-A-P, for a free account upgrade. That's edgeboost.bet, or just scan the QR code below. All right, give me some upsets for Friday, Sam. What do you like?
All right, Jason. Well, there are a couple of different ways we can look at this, right? Because are we talking upsets from the book? Are we talking upsets from seeding? Good news for you is you don't have to answer. I've got them all. All right, so we'll start with an upset for the book. I'm going to go with Memphis over Colorado State just because it's a 5-12 game. People are expecting the upset, so much so that Colorado State, the 12 seed, has been bet to be the favorite over Memphis, the 5 seed. Listen, I know that there's a little bit of potential confusion from the selection committee in terms of Memphis's seeding, but I just trust them over this Colorado State team. I think that Memphis gets it done. Give me the 1.5 with Memphis if the game's close, but I'll play them on the money line as well. Now, if we're talking about just on the books an upset, I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to take Ole Miss in the 6-11 game against North Carolina. Ole Miss, the higher seed again, the dog again. I'm going to take them over UNC. I just don't think this UNC team is a team that has looked like a tournament team all season. Jason Page, they did not look like they deserved to be in this NCAA tournament. They win their first 4 game, and here they are. I think this is where the road ends for them. Clearly, The books don't. Maybe they won't see me coming. I'm going to go Ole Miss on the money line. And then if you want to get real spicy with it, if you want to just have some fun, just a little pizza money here or there, we'll go to the 4-13 game, and I like Grand Canyon over Maryland. This Grand Canyon team can run, and we know Maryland's history in the tournament.
Yeah, I would never bet on Maryland in the tournament. I actually have North Carolina going deep. I actually have North Carolina making a run in this tournament, but we'll see. We'll see how right I am about that. I still haven't even revealed my Final Four. Might be kind of late, but I have picked one. We're coming back. We'll do some NFL on the other side. Coming up in 10 minutes, some baseball talk with my man David Aardsma. Be on the show with us for the next couple of days, in fact. Mind you, with the NCAA tournament going on, it will be difficult for us as a show that records early in the day for our national audience to give you the most up-to-date information. And obviously, when we get back on Monday, we'll obviously be able to recap everything and set you up for the Sweet 16 and all of that. But understand that that's kind of we're kind of caught in the middle when it comes to the NCAA tournament. I did want to say, though, Sam, before we get to the NFL items here that we're going to get to, Final Four, because I had not said it on the show yesterday. I got Auburn and UConn on one side, Duke and Houston on the other, and Duke and UConn meeting in the championship game. That's what I got. Who did you have? What'd you have for the Final Four?
I had Auburn, Florida on one side,
say it again.
Alabama, Tennessee on the other.
Say the first part again, because I had your mic down because I wanted to mute you because I can't stand the sound of your voice.
You just can't. You just hate listening to me. Yeah. This is what I have to deal with, folks. Jason never listens to me, and that's exactly why. I have Auburn, Florida on one side and Alabama, Tennessee on the other. Why? Because it just means more in the SEC.
Okay, there you go. Should division titles in the NFL become meaningless? Apparently, the Detroit Lions think the answer to that question is yes, they should. They have proposed a change that, doesn't matter if you win your division title. We're seeding based on records. Look, you do this, you basically become the WNBA. I mean, this is what the WNBA does. They just have one big Eastern Conference, and they just have a bunch of teams, and that's it. And that's what you get. I mean, do we like division titles? Too. But do we like division titles to mean something in the NFL? I mean, they're the only two sports where they really do seem to matter are football and baseball.
Right. The two sports where the playoffs actually mean something. Yeah. And getting into the playoffs is actually a big deal, rather than hockey and basketball, where it's harder to not make the playoffs than it is to make the playoffs. And you have these teams like in the NBA you do right now in this new age of this phony made-up play-in, let's sell 3 more games worth of tickets tournament. You have teams that are meddling around, screw around below 500.
Oh, you're gonna have
teams below 500 with a chance to make the playoffs.
Oh, you're gonna have
this
a 10.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah. You're gonna have in the NBA. You will wind up with a team that's like 10 to 12 games below 500 that winds up in the playoffs. That's right,
and that is what you will start to trend towards if you do this in the NFL, because that is disregarding the divisions is the first step to expanding the playoffs, is the second step to a play-in tournament, is the third step towards everybody makes the playoffs and the regular season doesn't matter. Well, I got news for you, NFL. Your biggest revenue generator besides the Super Bowl is the regular season, and quite frankly, to everyone outside of football, the stuff in between the end of the regular season and the Super Bowl doesn't really matter. So do not consider this.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be surprised if they did. I would be at least right now. At least for right now, I would be surprised if they did. By the way, your favorites to win the NFL divisions next year: Buffalo at -200 in the AFC East. AFC North is the Ravens at -135. The Texans are at +140. And the Chiefs are at -150. And in the NFC, it's the Eagles at -170. The Lions at +105. The Buccaneers at +145. Falcons very close behind there, I should note. And the 49ers +125. Yes?
You didn't even say the number, but the Commanders' NFC East number is speaking to me, whatever it may be.
It is +230. It's +230.
What is one thing we know about the NFC East, Jason Page? We don't know a lot about the NFC East, but we know one thing, and it's that teams never win it 2 years in a row.
No, but the one thing I also know about you is you won't lock yourself up in a futures bet like that for the next 12 months either. I know you well enough to know that. Let's have a word from our friends at Credit Associates, shall we? Are you $10,000 or more in credit card debt, in over your head trying to make monthly payments? Well, there's a powerful debt relief program credit card companies don't want you to know about. Overcome the debt trap of multiple credit cards, high payments, and high interest rates that keep you in debt for decades, and you do it with one affordable low monthly payment. Credit Associates Debt Relief Program can help you resolve your debt in as little as 24 to 36 months, and that'll save you thousands of dollars and decades in debt. What are you waiting for? Find out how much you could save right now. Call 1-800-747-5362. That's 1-800-747-5362 with our friends from Credit Associates, or just scan the QR code below. All right, Sam Yarnell, from the absurdity of expanding the schedule to the Bengals clapping back at the media. Watch.
Because let's face reality, it's not to keep T. Higgins. They got to take care of Jamar Chase. They can't pay him.
The Bengals want to create the impression that they tried. You didn't try, you failed.
Hey, you gonna be able to get a deal done? Ideally is a situation that doesn't deal with reality. You're not gonna be able.
Yeah, I don't see how they pay. I don't see how. I'm not saying it can't be done. I just don't see how.
I thought that this was going to be what we have come to expect from the Bengals for a long time. The same old Bengals. They're not going to get the deals done with the wide receiver. I was wrong.
Wow.
This is what happens when you F around. You find out.
We're intent on winning and doing what's necessary to make sure we do it.
Higgins and Chase are back.
They are not the same old Bengals, and they're not acting like it.
Yeah, who they?
It's not he who laughs the loudest, it's he who laughs last. Is that the saying? Sam, you should have been included in that montage, by the way.
I definitely should have. And hey, if the Bengals admin, if you're out there, I actually think I went to college with someone who worked in the Bengals social media department. But regardless, if you're out there and want to take a shot at me, feel free, or maybe click the record button now because it's about to happen again. I can't believe you just put out this video before they took a snap next season. Oh my goodness, Cincinnati, you are embarrassing yourself even more than you did by giving these two guys these two contracts along with the Joe Burrow contract. Have fun paying a whole third of your salary cap, more than that, almost half your salary cap, to three guys who play on the same side of the ball. That's not going to work out well.
But Jason Cole makes a good point. A lot of guys on NFL rosters don't make a lot of money. You know, whenever I bring up this idea of quarterbacks getting too much money and the lion's share, he'll say a lot of guys on NFL rosters aren't making a lot of money. So it's kind of a fair, counterpoint to what you're saying. David Aardsma will join us next and talk baseball. All right, this Thursday edition of SportsWrap continues. Good to have you with us. NCAA Tournament games are going on, so we're going to talk about baseball because we can't possibly keep up with everything that's going on in the tournament since we tape once at the beginning of the day, and that's it. So enjoy the games, and if you don't feel like watching college basketball, you can hang out with us and we talk about baseball. With this guy, David Aardsma, hangs out with us, former big league reliever, our closer on the show, giving us some time to talk some baseball today. He'll also be on tomorrow's show as we get ready for the real start of baseball season. Can I pick your brain on this before I ask you what I really want to ask you about? And this is why I never get to everything I want to get to in a segment with you, because I'm like ADD boy, and it just all goes off the rails right away. Does the opening day Japan thing bother you? Because it drives me nuts. I'm not watching either of these games because they're on at 3:00 in the morning out here, and it's not really opening day. They're basically glorified spring training games. You got guys starting going 3 innings, 4 innings. I can't take it seriously.
I love it. I got to be a part of one when I was with the Red Sox. We went out to Japan. We played against the A's. I loved every single little minute of it because I don't know. I just love those cool little moments and stuff like that. I get it if you're a fan. If you're a Dodger fan or a Cub fan and you don't get to wake up and watch the games, like I understand from that standpoint. But this is a global game. Baseball is a global game, and right now, more than ever, we've had Asian superstars, right? Especially Japanese superstars in this game, mainly really from any other country. It's really Japan. And they're there playing in Japan. This is something cool and special. And I think the core fans truly love it and are okay with it and understand it. It's 2 games. It's like, get over it. It's 2 games. And it's so special being in Tokyo with all those players that it's like, I think we're getting a little bit too like, oh, we have to have it here. It's 162 games. We're already complaining about the amount of games. And then we get 2 in Japan and we're complaining about it.
Play it during the regular season then. Play it actually during the season. You go to London. You go to London and play games. Why can't you go to Tokyo and play games? Just don't ruin opening day. It's opening day. There are things that are sacred in sports. There are very few things that are left that are sacred in sports. I don't understand why we have to take this away from the U.S.
When I was with the Red Sox, we went to Tokyo. We played the Giants and the Tigers, and then we played the A's for the two opening games. We came back. We played a series against the Dodgers. Whatever series. We played in Coliseum, 110,000 people.
Yeah.
Then we fly up to Oakland and we do opening day in Oakland. Then we fly to Toronto, opening day in Toronto. Then we fly to Boston, opening day in Boston. And that was 2008 when they brought out Bill Buckner out from the Green Monster. And so we had 4 opening days, and I love opening day. So like to me, it's like this is like so much fun every single time you get an opening day. Plus, it's so different in Japan, Oakland, Toronto, and Boston. We're completely different.
Talk to me about what we saw from the Dodgers and the Cubs here over the first couple of games of the season. We were interested to see what Sasaki would look like. We saw that on Wednesday. He walked some guys, struck out a few guys. What did you see in what Sasaki was doing that either impressed you or gave you pause? I mean, it's one start. I'm not going to go crazy.
No, nothing gave me too much pause. It's one start, and he's a young guy pitching back in Japan for the Dodgers after signing that deal. Obviously it's not like a ton of money, but it's the presence of the deal, the meaning of the deal is a lot more than the amount of money that he got. But the young kid has nerves. He's got 5 walks. What I saw, though, he was still able to pitch out of it. It was very borderline, and hairline being a lot more runs and being a very close, tie ball game. If it wasn't for basically a line drive at your shortstop. So what I saw was a young guy pitching with some nerves and walking guys. But you know what? You see it. You see his stuff. And you understand why. There's 99 with a great split, good slider. He's got a presence on the mound. You just looked a little nervous, and he looked like he was sweating a little bit. Good stuff out of the Dodgers. Exactly what you're going to see. Just a good baseball in general. Good pitching overall. Really good pitching overall. And the lineup did its best. Like, they came through when they needed to. Obviously, a little controversy with Ohtani and the home run call. But again, the Dodgers got the runs when they need it, and that's what we're going to see a lot, I think, this year. We're not going to see this offense that's just going to go crazy every night, but we're going to see a lot of runs when they need them.
Ohtani obviously doing his thing isn't much of a surprise, and you look at the guys around him. Kiki give him something. Edman gives them something. And we're going to touch more on this in something we're going to do tomorrow on the show in terms of the burning questions I want to ask you about. But just a snippet here, with this Dodgers team coming off what they did last year, is it the pressure to double up on that and win another title and the expectations of that? Or is it, we got one, it's going to be a lot easier this time around because that pressure isn't on this group?
That pressure is 100% on this group.
Really?
And it's yes, it's always a new year. It's a new everything, but 90% of the team is the exact same team, and they're bringing back a lot of the exact same players. The lineup is essentially the same minus Conforto and Edman, right? Or, maybe the shortstop as well. So Rojas. So there's some differences there, but it doesn't matter. The core group is the same group, and the front office is the same front office. The coaching staff is the same coaching staff, but that's why you have the great coaching staff, great front office, is to let these guys stay focused. Remind them that this is 2025, not 2024, that this is day one, starts, day one. And Dave Roberts has a unique ability that only a very few managers have. And Tito, I saw it with as well, an ability to let you be calm at the same time be focused. And whether you're playing game 1 in Japan or whether you're playing game 182 in the World Series, whatever that game ends up being, whatever number that is, you have the same focus, and it's the same goal. It's just you have your at-bat, you have your pitch. Make that pitch, make that at-bat the best you can. Whether it doesn't matter the situation, and that's what those great coaches do.
I got 40 seconds here left in this segment. We're going to hold you over for one more. As somebody who got to play in Japan, did you get to pitch in that series, by the way?
I did. I got to pitch against a Japanese team and in the opening series.
What was the difference pitching in front of those fans versus the fans here?
Rowdy. Boston was great. The same Boston, but it's like everyone had a chant. You felt different vibes in the stadium. Obviously, it was very Boston heavy with the Japanese players we had, but it was like there's like chants and stuff, and it's super quiet when you're hitting, when you're pitching, and then super loud when you're hitting, and it's such a cool little like give and take, and it's meaningful. Whenever they cheer, it's meaningful versus just random noise in the States. It's like random noise there. It's meaningful.
They're a lot more plugged in, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the impression I've always gotten is they're actually watching the game. They're not staring at their phones the whole time. David Aardsma is hanging out with us. We got one more segment with him to talk about the Red Sox and their third base situation next. Let's continue the conversation on Major League Baseball with our friend David Aardsma, who's hanging out with us. MLB Radio over on Sirius XM, Man Cave Sports. I always suck at mentioning Man Cave Sports, but
I don't hold it against you.
No, but that's your baby. That's your baby. Man Cave Sports, former big league reliever, hanging out with us on the program. So you play these games in Japan, and then you have to go back to it just meaning nothing and getting yourself ready for the regular season. And it's another, week off basically for these guys. I can't even imagine what that's like to ramp it up only to ramp it down just as fast.
It's tough if you allow it to be that. If you allow it to be separated. If you think of that, I mean, there's so many series that you play in a year. There's so many times where you're traveling, you're doing this, you're doing that. If you keep a mindset that these are real games, then nothing changes. It doesn't matter if you're going out there and trying to do your best in those games, whether it's in Japan or whether you're coming back and playing an exhibition series. It's about your focus. And for me, though, I had a way different process in this because I was trying to make a team. And so to me, every single time I had that ball in my hand, this is life or death. I'm going to make a team. I'm getting cut and being a free agent. So to me, it was like, hey, man, I've got the ball. I've got to make this team.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about that. What is this week like, this final week of the season? With cutdowns taking place, you're on the bubble. You're trying to make that roster. For fans who can't conceptualize or understand what that is like, try and give me a TikTok, a day by day of what your day is like, wondering, is this when I get the call into the manager's office to find out that I'm going to AAA or AA, or maybe not even with the organization at all in some cases? Try and give me a sense for what that feels like.
So when we went out to Tokyo, because of how the rosters are set up, we didn't have all of our starters. So 3 or 4 of our starters got to come off the roster. So we added 3 relievers. Well, I was one of those relievers. And they basically told us, when you get back to Boston, we're keeping one of you. So as the series went by, we got rid of one. So when we go to Oakland, after we play the opening series, we go to Oakland, they cut a guy. And then we go to Toronto, and then after Toronto, we land in Boston, they cut a guy. And then you show up opening day, and you're like, well, it's you. All right. So you're going to have a meeting with the manager no matter what. You're just hoping it's the last day and you had that last cut. I mean, you know what it is? It is nerve-wracking. It is exhausting. But you are more prepared and ready, and more ready than anybody else on that team. It's just, can you maintain that throughout the year? That's really the tough part, is you're fighting from day one in spring training. You just added a month and a half on your stress that you now have to work through, 6 months of a season and playoffs, that you're stressed out trying to make a team every day.
Were you on the right side of that every time, or were you ever on the wrong side where you found out you weren't making the team?
Oh, absolutely. I was on the wrong side.
And
that's tough. That's the toughest.
What is that like? Bring me inside you. I'm not trying to draw tears here, no. but I'm not Oprah trying to get tears out of you. But
I got cut so many times. I'm so used to it.
Do you got to kind of get leathery skin from that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? As long as you're out there, and again, you're busting your butt, you're practicing every day, you're giving it all. When that conversation happens, one thing that Brian Cashman always said is, you're not just playing for us, you're playing for 29 other teams. So to me, it's every outing. I'm showcasing myself for that team I'm playing against, especially in spring training. So if I strike out 3 of their guys, they just notice me. Whether I'm on their team or not yet, because I can't control Cashman's decision. I can't control any of these guys' decision. But that when you get that last meeting and you're walking in the office and they're telling you you're out, like Cashman did. Cashman told me that same Joe Girardi was the manager and told me that conversation. That's one of the toughest ones, especially when you had a great spring training and you feel like you deserved it. And so that's a conversation. You just got to bite your tongue. Take it in heart. Understand you're not the GM. You're not making the decisions, and they have a plan for their team. And there's so much more from a front office standpoint they have to take into consideration than who's the best player. It's about roster size, about contract. It's about where you're at, 40-man roster. I mean, so many more things that you can't control it. Yeah. So just let it go. And you know what? If you're a good baseball player, somebody's going to want you. That's the big thing. Everyone complains about these guys that don't have jobs. If they're good enough, somebody would want them. If their contracts were in a good spot, somebody would want them. If they're young enough, somebody would want them. Sometimes you're not, and you just have to bite the bullet and say, okay, I got to take a contract I don't like and prove it.
In the last minute and a half here, the Red Sox, it feels like they've made their decision on Bregman or Devers at third base without really announcing who that decision is, when they say Bregman's basically going to start the rest of the preseason and spring training at third base. It seems like their minds are made up, and it seems like Devers has sort of made peace with it as well.
I think Devers has had a PR job, made peace with it. That's the way I'm looking at this. I don't think he's made peace with it. I don't think he's happy. At the same time, if you wanted to play third base for the Boston Red Sox, play better. You can't lead the league in errors and expect to keep your job when a prized third baseman is on the free agent market, and it's the Boston Red Sox. You know what? He wasn't playing up to his level, and they got better as a team because of that, unfortunately. And so, you know what? Like, I think the Red Sox made the right decision. Bregman should be your third baseman. There should never even been a conversation about it once they signed him. Like, he's your third baseman. Devers, figure it out. And to me, that's the problem of Devers. And he's saying all the right things. It's just, can he actually keep that mindset going into a season and be a great teammate? Shake Bregman's hand, hug him when he makes a great play. Can he get to that point where he truly
it's not
is enjoying
Bregman's fault?
Bregman
I mean,
well?
how can you hold it against Bregman? It's not his fault. The team.
You have to. That's your competition. That's the guy. Like, who else are you going to hate? The front office. You can't go up there and like they're up there. Like, Bregman's in your locker every day. When you take the field, Bregman's in your position, so you end up just it's internal. It's hard. Like, you don't mean it, but it's there because you're watching him play your spot.
Yeah, I get it. And the Red Sox are expected to be contenders in that AL East, which feels like it's wide open with the Yankees having so many injuries. David, we'll talk to you tomorrow back here on the show. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, just a reminder, by the way, tomorrow's Sports Wrap, special edition of the show. Given the NCAA Tournament is going on literally throughout all times of the day, we'll be kind of off tomorrow. There'll still be Sports Wrap. You can tune us in. We just won't have really anything big to report in terms of the NCAA Tournament games. We'll come back on Monday and obviously get you up to date on what's going on. As far as the Sweet 16 is concerned, David Aardsma will be on the show tomorrow. My conversation with him, previewing some of the burning questions for this Major League Baseball season. Tino Patino will be on the show tomorrow to preview the NASCAR race in Miami at Homestead. So we'll have that for you as well. My conversation recently with Bubba Wallace will be part of that show. Whole bunch of fun stuff on tomorrow's Sports Wrap. All right. By the way, I will be traveling to San Francisco, Sam Yarnow, the wonderful Bay Area. Have you ever been to San Francisco, Sam? No?
I haven't.
Yeah. Got to go. Well, next year, Super Bowl is the Bay Area. So hopefully we'll all be out there together next year for the Super Bowl. That'll be fun. Something to consider, speaking of football, I'm completely flummoxed at this story about Stanford head coach Troy Taylor, Joanne Thai, and I hope I'm saying her name right. I'm probably not, which is embarrassing considering I'm married to an Asian. Stanford head football coach Troy Taylor is in the crosshairs from a metaphorical standpoint for some violations, rules violations, NCAA compliance issues, inappropriate comments to women, belittling female athletic staffers, bullying female athletic staffers. And it didn't just happen once, and he was warned about it. It happened a second time after he was given a warning letter in February of 2024. Yet here we are on Thursday, March 20th, 2025, over a year later since the first warning letter, and Troy Taylor still has a job at Stanford, and I can't figure out why, reading the details of this story. Before people wonder about some of the other parts of this story, and again, ESPN's done a great job with reporting on this. So he signed a warning letter February 14th, 2024, acknowledging he could be fired if the conduct continued, according to documents that have been released. Additional complaints were documented in a second investigation that ended last July, but again, he still has a job. Statement released by Stanford yesterday, Taylor said he was using the investigations to improve how I interact with others. I willingly complied with the investigations, accept the recommendations that came out of them, and use them as a learning opportunity to grow in leadership and how I interact with others, Taylor said in a statement. But did he really learn? Clearly not, given what is sort of taking place here. Sam, how does this guy still have a job?
So you said that happened in February of 2024, Jason?
That was the first.
Is that correct?
That was the first warning letter,
right.
Correct.
So my head immediately went to a couple places. When Jason sent me this story, the first place my head went, honestly, was, wow. Since the David Shaw thing, the Stanford athletics department has just had a real run-in with it. It's been like bad press after bad press since they had a couple of really good teams back in the early 2010s. Second thing my mind went to, in the middle of all this, now allegedly, Stanford hired Andrew Luck. Stanford football hired Andrew Luck to be the GM of the program and oversee this kind of thing. So, is it too early into his tenure to raise questions? Is this something that obviously was going on before his tenure started? Sure. He hasn't controlled it, obviously. So not a great look for Andrew Luck in this case either. Just a real tough story coming out of the West Coast yesterday.
Here's the thing, and what's again most perplexing to me is if the guy was 9-3 last year and they played in a bowl game and all this, while I wouldn't excuse it, people would argue, hey, the ends justifies the means, whatever it may be. They were 3-9 last year. We're not talking about a team that was tearing up the town. They were 3-9. They were dog crap. And you're keeping this. Gonna be nice. You're keeping this guy on the payroll. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Doesn't make sense to me. How?
Well, and the thing is, Jason, as much as you and I are going to sit here and talk about this today, tomorrow we'll be talking about other stuff.
Yep, we'll move on.
Monday we won't even remember it happened.
Yeah,
and that's how, to answer your question, like as frankly and morbidly as true as it is, that's just how this kind of thing works.
Teams have gotten, organizations, teams, they've all gotten smart to the fact that they can just ride out the storm and move on. And look, maybe it's
at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Maybe it's they don't want to have to pay him whatever they're going to have to pay him, but it feels like they'd have cause to fire him. I don't get it. Hey, before we get to odds and ends, which we'll do coming up in a couple of minutes, word from our friends over at Credit Associates. Are you $10,000 or more in credit card debt, in over your head trying to make monthly payments? Well, there's a powerful debt relief program the credit card companies don't want you to know about. Yes, overcome the debt trap of multiple credit cards, high payments, and high interest rates that keep you in debt for decades with one affordable low monthly payment. Credit Associates Debt Relief Program can help you resolve your debt in as little as 24 to 36 months, and that'll save you thousands of dollars and decades in debt. Find out how much you can save. Call 1-800-747-5362. That's 1-800-747-5362 with our friends from Credit Associates. Odds and ends is around the corner. It's already off the rails for the Angels. We'll explain why next. It's just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. If you have not done so yet, make sure to check out the SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcasts, and you could watch the show every day, aside from these wonderful affiliates that we're on all across the country and Canada. The show available on YouTube and Spotify as well. Go and check out our SportsWrap YouTube channel. We have rebranded it. It is now the SportsWrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Go and check that out. All right, without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends, presented by our friends at Edge Boost, telling you all about the best ways to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there when it comes to sports betting. And that is what Edge Boost is all about. It's the financial platform paying you cash back to wager. Edge Boost is an online bank account paying you for every deposit. With the Edge Boost Visa debit card, you're getting up to 0.5% cash back on all your sportsbook, daily fantasy site, and casino transactions. Free money back in your pocket just for doing what you're going to do already, and it is a no-brainer. Plus, your Edge Boost debit card starts with a $250,000 daily limit, and it'll never be declined for gambling activity. They've got built-in tools to help you stay responsible, and there's absolutely no hidden fees or minimum required balances. Stop leaving money on the table. Visit edgeboost.bet to learn more and sign up today. And when you do, use my promo code WRAP, W-R-A-P, that's WRAP, W-R-A-P, get yourself a free account upgrade with edgeboost.bet, or just scan the QR code right there and get all the information you need. The Knicks got torched by the Spurs and some guy named Sandru Mamukelashvili. See, I didn't butcher it. I got it right. See, all that play-by-play and years of pronouncing names that nobody should be able to pronounce has paid off. Did I ever tell you the time? I'm gonna digress. When I was a senior in high school, I went to Sweden and Finland. I was the play-by-play voice for our high school hockey team, my senior year of high school. I went to Sweden and Finland for a 2-week trip, and pronouncing those names, I might as well have just sneezed into the microphone because it would have sounded the same as some of the names I was trying to pronounce. This guy went 13 of 14 last night. He went 7 of 7 from 3 in the game. He had 34 points in 19 minutes, Sam Yarnell. Career high, by the way.
Yeah, duh, because you never heard of the guy. By the way, Jason Page getting that name completely right on the show after butchering it 3 times during the break. It did take, fourth time was definitely the charm
during warm-ups,
on that one.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe, good for the kid. Maybe he signed himself, maybe he just earned himself a 10-day contract a year down the road or whatever the case may be.
This is 4th year in the league, Sam. And I've never heard of this guy.
Now his agent has a game that he can point back on and show film from, and there you go. This is what everyone dreams of.
It was crazy. Knicks shouldn't lose to the Spurs, by the way, without Wemby. I know Jalen Brunson isn't playing. You can't lose that game. Let's talk about Ron Washington. Ron Washington, how you know your season's going off the rails before you've even broken camp. Ron Washington instituting a policy that players are going to be in charge of. No cell phones or no cell phone use in the locker room, clubhouse, whatever you want to call it, for the Angels this year, Sam. How do you like that?
Not at all.
Your generation? Absolutely not.
That, sure, but also the fact of the matter is there are a couple of different reasons I don't like this. From a managerial perspective, now you're going to make your team police itself. And then you're going to have guys that obviously stand out and are against it. You're going to have guys that are way too for a policy like this. And it's just going to create hatred within the clubhouse. That's not going to be good. Ron Washington passing it off to his team to self-police also seems kind of like a pass the buck kind of issue. And also, it's 2025, dude. And your locker room is full of 20-something-year-olds. They're all adults. This isn't 14-year-olds at summer camp. We don't need to tell them to put their phones away. They know when it's time to get serious. They get paid a lot of money to play a child's game. They know how to do it well, Jason.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I'm still laughing at you calling Ron Washington dude. So the Angels will try and institute this policy. Over under on how long it lasts. Does it make it to the All-Star break?
No, it won't make it to opening day. That policy is going to get left in Arizona.
It should. They might want to leave Ron Washington there with it, by the way. The Boston Celtics have been sold. The Boston Celtics have been sold. Shem Sharanya had it. $6.1 billion to somebody named Bill Chisholm. He is the managing partner at Symphony Technology Group, and he has agreed to purchase the Celtics from the Grusbeck family for $6.1 billion, largest sale for a franchise in North American sports history, surpassing what the Commanders commanded, being sold for $6.05 billion in 2023. Sam Yarnell.
This is a family that 23 years ago bought this team for less than 1/12 of what they just sold it for. That's a smart investment.
And buying any sports team, you're not going to lose money on it these days. Show me somebody who's losing buying a pro sports team. It doesn't happen. It's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks to David Aardsma. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow with a special edition of Sports Wrap. Have yourselves a great day.